And as you get set up and into your position, take a deep breath in. And just to take a deep sigh out through the mouth. And then start to close your eyes to the room. And allow your awareness to go inward. Just as you close the eyes, start to let go of all those distractions and stories. And it's not always easy. It's a journey and it is a practice. But if you notice and you become aware of your mind wandering off, see if you can just redirect it back inward. And to help us do that, let's begin to set up the body. So if you're sitting, feel your sitting bones, your legs, the feet, all kind of pressing down into the mat. And then through your spine, begin to lengthen, drawing the head up towards the ceiling. If you're laying down, you'll feel the head and the feet starting to kind of reach and pull in opposite directions to help lengthen out the spine. Give yourself a little slight tuck of the chin. Start to tilt the pelvic slightly so the low back starts to help create a nice lengthened spine. And then relax the face, letting go of any tension in the forehead. Relaxing those eyes, letting them just be softly closed. Start to really soften and relax the jaw so you create a little space between the teeth. And maybe even allowing that tongue, the sides of them, to just kind of rest in between that space. Relax the shoulders. Soften those hands and feet. Keep that spine gently lengthened, but the rest of the body relaxed. And now begin to take your awareness into your breath, just noticing and following that natural breath in and that natural breath out. Trying not to control it, but just to become aware. Just following that breath in and out. Now, as you're following this breath, see if you can start to deepen and lengthen your next inhale. And then really release and exhale even deeper. And just begin to follow that. A deep breath in. And then a deep breath out. Continue breathing deep for a few more rounds. Now begin to draw the core in slightly, engaging the lower abdominals. As you engage this area, make sure you're relaxing the shoulders and the jaw. And come back to a deepened breath with this little bit of effort and engagement in place. And notice what's happening. Notice what you're feeling. One more deep breath, and then see if you can draw those hands into a prayer. If it's too much for those shoulders, press the palms against the heart space. If the hands are in prayer, just draw those thumbs to the heart space. Relax those shoulders, the jaw, and begin to set an intention for your practice. Once you have found that intention, see if you can repeat it, holding on to it, setting it into your heart space so it can be with you throughout practice. And when you're ready, just release those hands. And at your own pace, begin to open your eyes back to the room. If you're sitting up, just begin to come down to a laying position. If you're in a laying position, draw the knees in towards the chest. Wrap the arms around, give yourself a little hug, and then give yourself a little rock side to side, making sure the head is down and on the mat. Good, a few more rocks side to side, just noticing how your body feels as it comes on and off of the mat. Good, then come back to center. Wrap those arms back around for a little extra squeeze. If that feels good, you can lift the head up one more time, but then release it. Tuck the chin in, lengthening out the neck. Hands can stay here on the knees or start to draw the arms out at T. Engage the thighs together, a little bit of feet engagement. And what I mean by that is it's just like you're pressing against a wall with those feet. Draw the core in just a little bit. And then keeping that engagement through the thighs, see if you can start to draw the knees into a circular motion going around the hips. So this might be small circles, medium circles, or even big circles. But just make sure that you're using a little effort not to fall out of the pose, but also making sure that hands can be at ease, the jaw can be relaxed, and the breathing can be deep. Next time your knees start to come back towards the chest, slow the movement, re-engage the feet, the core, the thighs, tuck the chin, relaxing the shoulders and the hands. Start to then draw those knees in the opposite direction they were going in. Keep breathing deep. Don't add tension anywhere into the body. And check in to what you're feeling. Is there any different sensations through the body as you go in the opposite direction? One more circle.
And when those knees come back to center, wrap the arms back around, give yourself a little hug, maybe a quick little rock side to side just to kind of release and notice what you're feeling. Good. Now what you're going to do is keeping the knees in towards the chest, re-engage those thighs, re-engage the feet, draw your arms out at T, tuck the chin, take your right hand, draw it onto the left thigh or the left knee, begin to help take these legs over and down to your right side. As the legs begin to find the right side, that left arm may want to pop up. See if you can start to draw it back down gently towards the floor, the ground, the mat. Maybe gaze in the opposite direction. Now with this left arm, start to trace the floor up and overhead. And then what's going to happen is the hands are going to meet. And once those hands meet, take that left hand and go just a little further than the right. Breathe deep. If you want an extra stretch here, start to lengthen the legs, those feet, to try and meet the hands. Draw the core in. Start to draw that left arm back up to T, tracing the floor. Bend those knees. Drawing the core in, draw those knees back to center. Realign, re-engage, feet, core, tuck the chin. Your left hand will cross and it's going to find the right thigh or the right knee. And then all you're going to do is slowly start to draw these legs down to the left side. Arms out at T. Try to draw that right shoulder down and maybe gaze over to the right. Breathe deep. Then take this right hand, start to trace the floor up and overhead. As the arms come to stack, take that right hand and go just a little further than the left. You want to go a little deeper through those legs, start to lengthen and reach those feet to try and touch the hands. Breathe deep. Start to trace the right hand up and overhead, drawing arms back out at T. And bend the knees. Using the core, knees back to center. Realign, re-engage. Tuck the chin. Draw that core in. Feet gently, adding effort. When you're ready, slowly start to lower those knees down to your right side, either using the arm or using your core. You can gaze in the opposite direction so you get an extra little stretch, maybe even a little extra twist through the body. Breathe. Try to pull that left shoulder down. Trace the left arm so it comes over to stack on top of the right. Lengthen the legs if that feels good for you. Arms back out at T, gently retracing. Bend the knees. Knees then come back to center. Realign, re-engage. Tuck the chin, the core, thighs, the feet. Slowly lowering over to the left. Gazing to the right. Breathing deep. With the right hand, trace the floor up and overhead to stack the arms. Once the arms come to stack, you can lengthen the legs if that feels good for you. Arms back out at T, tracing the floor up and overhead. Bending the knees, drawing them back to center. Good. Wrap the arms around those knees. Give yourself a little hug, a little rock side to side. Then when you're ready, come on up to a seated posture, either rocking up or rolling to one side. Good. All right. So you're in a cross-leg position. Just make sure that your ankles are not on top of each other. So a little space is okay. Move those sitting bones to adjust. And then start to reach your arms up and overhead. As you reach up, lengthen that spine. Spread the hands, but soften the shoulders. Using your core gently by drawing it in, slowly start to hinge forward, drawing the hands down to the floor. Maybe the head can come down to the floor. If the head can't come to the floor, just act as though it's trying to by releasing and letting it go. So you're not holding that head up at all. Relax the shoulders, breathe deep. Inhale, lengthen those arms, use your core, come gently back up. Arms reaching, spine lengthening, soften the shoulder. Good. Exhale, slowly come back into that forward fold. Gently releasing as you get here. Breathe deep. Inhale, use your core, lengthen those arms, lift back up, spine and arms lengthening. Last time, come into your forward fold. Now, if you want to draw the arms maybe underneath the head to relax the head, that's okay. But just come into this forward fold where you can soften, just kind of be in the fold, but breathing deep. Inhale, slowly walk the hands into the legs to lift yourself back up gently. Good. Now here's the awkward part. Whatever leg is in front is now going to switch to be behind. And the leg that was behind is now in front. Good. Make sure there's a little space, so no bone on bone. Move those sitting bones if you need to. Good. Now this time what you're going to do is take your hands, see if you can interlace them behind you. If you can't interlace them behind you, it's okay if you have maybe like a blanket or something next to you that you can hold on to. But as you interlace or hold on to something, start to pull your shoulders back. See if you can start to reach the arms a little bit back and then hinge into your forward fold. Reaching the arms as deep as they feel they can go. And coming into that fold as deep as you feel comfortable. Just make sure you're relaxing the head and pulling those shoulders up and back. Good. Now really pull those fingers away from the body to help lift the spine back up, drawing the knuckles back to the back for the hips, and then just releasing those arms and shrugging out those shoulders. Good. So the hips might have even felt different just because you switched the legs. Notice how the spine felt as you came into a different forward fold. Good. Re-interlace those hands. Maybe grab a hold of a blanket or whatever you might need. Pull those shoulders back. Start to pull the arms back a little bit. And as you do, hinge towards those legs. If the body doesn't come down completely, that's okay. Just don't hold the head up. Keep pulling the shoulders back and breathe deep. Slowly pull those fingers away from the body to help lift the spine up.
Drawing the hands back towards the legs to totally release. Just shrug it out. Little undulation through the body. All right, we got one more. So, and release those hands. You want to switch up the interlace, you can. If you're like, what? That's okay. Just stay with what feels comfortable. Pull the shoulders back. Pull the arms back a little bit. And then slowly hinge. Keep reaching those arms to come away. Come into your fold where you feel comfortable. Breathe deep. One more. Slowly lift back up. Slowly release the arms. Release, relax, just kind of undulate. Kind of worm your body a little just to release. All right, so now if those knees are sensitive or the wrists are sensitive, please grab extra padding or use your mat as extra padding, but come to hands and knees. All right, wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. Start to curl your toes onto the mat. Draw the core in. Slowly start to draw your hips back towards your heels. You're gonna feel probably a stretch through those feet. Good. Inhale, come forward a little bit and uncurl those toes. Good. Draw the core in, curl those toes, shift the hips back so you feel a stretch. Maybe it's even just through the toes. Breathe. Slowly come back, uncurl those toes. Good. One more time. Curl those toes. Slowly start to lean back so you feel a little stretch. Breathe. Then uncurl those toes. Good. Feel the tops of the feet grounding down into the mat. Start to shift the weight to the left. Reach your right hand off the mat. And all you're going to do is flip the hand. So the back of the hand comes onto the mat and the fingers point towards the legs. A lot of times we have this bent elbow. See if you can just gently push a little bit so you get a stretch into that arm and into that wrist. Good. Shifting the weight back to the left, slowly release the hand so it comes back to the mat as it once was. Now shift to the right, same thing. You're going to lift this left hand up and then flip so the fingers point towards the hips. Back of the hand on the mat, push up just a little bit so you get a stretch. Breathe. Shifting the weight back to the right, uncurl the hand. Good. Take a moment to notice how that feels. Good. Shift to the left, right hand, flip it onto the mat. Lift up gently. Shift a little to the right and curl your left toe. So the toes come onto the mat. Good. You want to shift back a little bit, do so. Just feeling a little stretch. It'll be like a micro movement. Good. Uncurl the toe, uncurl the hand. Pause, breathe. Shift to the right, flip the left hand onto the mat. Shift a little to the left so now the right foot can be curled. Lift up. Maybe lean back just a little bit and breathe deep. Good. Uncurl the toe, uncurl the hand. Pause here for a breath. One last time. So curl the right hand. Curl the left toe. Gently lift, breathe deep, maybe even shift the weight back just a little bit. Not so much that you feel any pain, just to kind of give yourself a stretch in those good places. One more, make this an even deeper breath.
and gently uncurl. Breathe deep. Last side. So curl the left hand, curl the right toes. Gently lift, but gently maybe pull back just a little bit so you're feeling those stretches in all the right places. Don't bring any pain into the body. Breathe deep. One more, even deeper breath. And gently uncurl. Now draw your toes together, let your knees come wide, and slowly draw the hips down towards your heels, letting the head relax down to the mat. Maybe using the hands underneath of the head, or just coming into a place where you can kind of roll out the wrist, soften. You won't be here too long, but just to kind of notice how your hands, wrists, forearms, feet, they're all kind of feeling. Lengthen the arms, come back up to hands and knees under hips. Good, let's get ready for downward dog. So curl your toes on the mat, shift the weight back, start to lift the knees so that hips and tailbone can lift up. Chest pushes back towards those thighs. Heels trying to ground down. And just start to pedal out those legs. They might kind of enjoy getting a little movement. Breathe. Good, come into stillness and just stay here for a deep breath. And then slowly come into a forward fold by walking your hands to meet your feet and your feet to meet your hands. As you come into this forward fold, look down. Our feet underneath of the hips. Are they parallel with each other and parallel with the mat? If you're holding the head up, try to release the head. Shrug out the shoulders. Start to bend your knees. As you bend your knees, sink your hips down and back. Chest starts to peel off the thighs as the arms come up to frame. Draw the shoulders back, but also draw the core up and in. Good, then push to the feet as the arms come around and into a prayer position. Good, reach those arms back up and overhead. Draw the core in, tuck the tailbone, slight back bend. And then exhale, hinge at those hips, come into a forward fold. Just release into this forward fold by shrugging and letting go of any tension anywhere. Good, now shift the weight to the left, bend your knees a little deeper, so maybe fingers or hands can come closer to the mat. Then shift and draw the right foot behind you. You're coming into what we call a lunge. So this front knee, make sure it's not tracking over the ankle, but creating a nice 90-degree. Make sure that back heel is not on the mat, but lifted. Maybe even push that right hip forward to help keep the heel lifted. When you start to feel balanced, draw your hand onto that top thigh. When you begin to feel balanced again, hands on the hips. Keep pushing from the front foot into the back, drawing the core in, and the arms come up to frame. Relax the shoulders, spread the hands. Find a spot in front of you. Maybe it's on the floor or the wall to just find your gaze. You're looking out and back in. Everything else around you is just melting away. Good. Start to hinge forward, draw the hands down to the mat. Now draw this back knee. Start to draw it down to the mat. Maybe bring the foot and the knee back just a little bit so this front knee is still in alignment. You can keep the toe curled or uncurl the toe, it just depends on how you're feeling. Find that balance. Hand comes onto the top thigh. So now you're in a low lunge. When you feel balance, hands on hips.
Keep pushing this right hip forward a little bit, drawing the core in, reach the arms up and overhead. Relax the shoulders. Good, breathe. Slowly hinge your hands forward onto the mat. Good. Now with your hands on the mat here, start to curl your back toe once again. Lift the knee up, and then take that foot and half it so it meets that forward foot once again. Wiggle out those legs, but make sure that they're underneath of the hips and parallel with each other. Bend your knees, sink your hips down and back, chest peeling up, arms to frame, coming into your chair, Uttanasana. Then gently push through the feet as the arms come around and into a prayer. Shrug out the shoulders. Draw the core in, tilt the pelvic. Reach those arms back up, slight back bend. And then fold back into your leg as you hinge at your hips. Just releasing as you get here. Sometimes we want to hold our heads up, just kind of let it go. Good, now bend your knees so the hands come down to the mat. Shift the weight to your right foot so you can start to draw that left foot now behind you. Check in. Make sure the knee of that front leg is not tracking over the ankle. Make sure that back heel is lifted. If it's not, maybe start to push that left hip forward to pull that heel up. Good. Draw the core in. When you feel balanced, hands on the top thigh. Push from the front foot into the back foot. Draw the core in, hands on hips. Finding that spot where you can gaze out and back in. Finding that balance. Arms come to frame. Relax shoulders, but spread the hands. Breathe. Good. Hinge forward. Hands coming back to the mat. Draw that back knee down, and you might even have to walk the foot and knee back just a little bit so that this front knee is still in good alignment. You can keep the toe curled or uncurl the toe. When you feel ready and balanced, hand comes onto the thigh. Draw the core back in, arms onto hips. Push this left hip forward a little bit. Arms come up to frame. Breathe. Slowly draw the hands to the mat. Make sure the hands are on the mat so you can curl the back toe. Then lift the knee up so you're in that high lunge. Then push that foot so that it comes to meet this right foot and you're back in your forward fold. Just find your foundation with the feet underneath the hips and parallel with each other. Maybe spread and lift those toes and then release them. Good. All right. Come back into chair by bending your knees, sinking the hips down and back, drawing the core in, lifting that chest off the thighs and the arms to frame. Pull the shoulders back. Full engagement between the thighs, but not to touch. Good. Then push on up as arms come around and into a prayer. Roll out those shoulders if you need to. Release the neck. Maybe wiggle those legs a little. Just notice how you're feeling as you've been moving. Good. Reach those arms back up and overhead. Soften shoulders. Draw the core in. Tilt the pelvic. Slight back bend. Exhale. Hinge at your hips. Come back into your forward fold. Just soften and release when you get here. Good. Breathe. Don't hold any tension into the neck. So maybe tuck the chin in a few times. Good. That's where we hold a lot of our, always want to hold our heads up. All right, so when you're ready, you're going to shift your weight to the opposite side, coming back into that lunge by drawing the foot behind you. Make sure that you keep the heel up so that right foot's behind, gently pushing the right hip forward. Draw your hands onto your thigh when you feel balanced. Front knee is not tracking over the ankle, back heel is lifted. Core in, hands on hips. Keep pushing from the front foot into the back. And then arms can come up to frame. Lengthening through those arms, but softening the shoulders, spreading the hands. Good, hinge forward, hands on the mat, back knee gently down. Give yourself a little distance if you need to. Just make sure that front knee is still not tracking and it's in good alignment. Uncurl the toe or keep it curled. And then hands onto that top thigh. Find your balance. Pushing this right hip forward. Hands on hips. Breathe. Arms coming up to frame. Soften shoulders. Hinge forward, hands onto the mat. Good. Curl the back toe, lift the knee, then half that foot to meet the front foot. Wiggle out those legs if you need. Little wiggle movement through the back, just kind of releasing. Good. Make sure you're back in your alignment. Feet under hips and they're parallel with each other. Coming into chair, bending knees, sinking hips down and back, chest peeling up, arms to frame. Engage the core, engage the thighs. Lengthen through the hands, but soften the shoulder. Good. Then push on up. Arms coming around and into a plank. Reach the arms up and overhead. Tilt the pelvic. Draw the core in. Slight back bend. And then fold back into your legs. And just kind of notice how you feel. Try not to hold the head up. Now we're going to shift to the right leg. So bend those knees, hands to the mat, left foot behind you. Make sure that left hip is pushing forward. Draw the core in. Come onto your top thigh. Keep pushing, front foot into the back, hands on hips. Drawing core in. Arms come up to frame when you feel ready. Shoulders down. Breathe. Good. Hinge forward, hands to the mat. Draw that back knee down. Maybe lengthen the leg so that front knee is not tracking over the ankle. Toes can be curled or uncurled. Pushing the left hip forward. Draw your hands onto that top thigh. Core in, hands on hips. Good. Then arms come up to frame when you feel balanced. Shoulders relax. Breathe deep. Hinge forward. Hands on the mat, curl the back toe, lift the knee, and then half the foot to meet the front. Wiggle out those legs. Little undulation through the body, shoulders, neck, maybe just to kind of release any tension. All right, coming back in a chair, bending knees, sinking hips down and back, chest peeling up, arms to frame. Pull the knees back a little bit, draw the core in. Good, then push on up. Arms coming around into prayer. Spread out the shoulders. Good. Notice how those legs are feeling. So draw the arms down for just a moment. And you're just going to come into a little bit of an undulation here by drawing the arms kind of side by side. You're just kind of letting those arms kind of fling a little side to side. You might smack your butt, and that's okay. Good. Now just let gravity slow you down. Don't slow yourself down. Just let it happen naturally. And you're going to feel maybe the energy coursing through your arms and hands. Good. Take a deep breath in. Take a deep breath out. Reach your arms up and overhead. As you reach those arms up and overhead, soften the shoulders. Exhale, fold back into your legs.
Make sure your feet are underneath of your hips and they're parallel with each other and the mat. Short out the shoulders. Good. So what you're going to do here is shift your weight to the left so the right foot can come behind you. Good. Now, push that right hip forward so that you're keeping the heel up. Take your right hand and start to walk it in towards your left foot. It might be where your right foot would naturally come to. Then take your left hand and draw it onto your hip. Good. Now slowly start to look to the left. As you do, this left foot probably wants to try and come over to the pinky side. Try and keep from doing that. So avoid pushing into the outer edge and try to maybe push into the inner edge a little bit more. Good. If you're feeling like you have a nice twist happening, you can draw that top arm up. Breathe. Slowly draw the hand down. Draw that back knee gently down onto the mat. Good. Now both hands come inside of your left foot. I want your left hand to be pressing against your left foot, the side of that pinky of your hand press against the almost like big toe, and then your arm pressing against the leg. Good. Now take your right hand, draw it onto your right hip. Keep pushing the arm and the thigh into each other. Slowly start to rotate to the right. Good, then reach that right arm gently up. Find your balance. If it's too much, keep the hand on the mat. Keep pushing that left thigh into the arm into the thigh. Good, slowly draw the arm back down. Good. Now let's release this leg a little bit. So the left hand's coming back to the side of the left foot. And just start to walk your hands back. Don't sit on the heel. Keep your body lifted. But see if you can straighten this front leg and point the toe. You'll probably be on fingertips. You have to come down a little bit, that's okay. Breathe. Slowly bend that front knee. Good. Curl that back toe. Lift the knee. Push that right hip forward. Draw the right hand in by the left foot. Left hand onto left hip. Start to rotate over to the left side with the front body, the belly, the chest, but push that left thigh in. If you feel comfortable here, maybe reach that top arm up, pulling the shoulder back. Good. Draw the hands slowly back down to the mat. Draw that back knee down. Uncurl the toe or keep the toe curled. Both hands come back in. So pushing this left hand into the left leg, into the left side. So they're kind of working together here. Good. Then right hand onto the hip. Start to open up to this right side. Keep pushing arm and leg into each other. Keep drawing the core in. Reach that right arm up. Maybe pull the shoulder back. Breathe. Draw that arm gently back down to the mat. Last round. Slowly walk the hand back. Lifting that front toe. Breathe. Maybe wiggle hips a little side to side. Not too much, but you'll just feel like a little bit of a stretch. Good. Then draw that foot back to the mat. Hands back onto the mat so you can curl the back toe. Lifting up into your lunge. Push that right hip forward. Walk the right hand closer to the left foot. Then draw the left hand onto the left thigh or left hip. Pull the shoulder back so you start to open up towards the left thigh, but pull that left thigh in. It's a lot going on. ready, reach that top arm up, pull the shoulder back. Breathe deep. One more deep breath, and then you're going to draw the hand gently down. Then draw the knee gently down. Draw your left hand in next to your left foot so you can press the thigh and the arm into one another. Then you're slowly going to start to come into a place where you can draw your right hand onto your right hip. Start to rotate a little bit to the right, pulling the shoulder back, drawing that core in, keep pushing this left arm and left thigh into each other. And then reach up with that right arm if you feel comfortable, pulling the shoulder back. Breathe. Good. Draw the arm gently down. Hands in a better position so you can start to walk back, lengthening that front leg, maybe lifting the toe. Breathe deep. Good. Bend that front knee. Curl the back toe. And then hop that foot to meet the front foot. Good. Wiggle out those legs. You probably are like, oh yeah, they feel totally different. Make sure feet are under hips, parallel with each other and the mat. Bend your knees, sink your hips down and back, chest peeling up, arms come up to frame. Draw the core in, draw the thighs together. Then push to the feet, arms come around and into a prayer position. Shrug out those shoulders. Give the neck a little release. Right, make any adjustments you might need. And whenever you're ready, reach your arms back up and overhead. Draw the core in, tuck the tailbone, slight back bend. And then fold back into your legs. Good. Come into your position again if the feet kind of came out underneath hips and parallel. Now you're going to shift the weight to the right, so now your left foot can come back behind you. Good. Draw the left hand in by the right foot. Take your right hand, draw it onto the hip. Draw this right thigh in. Don't come onto the outer edge of the foot. Start to rotate a little bit to this right thigh. And if the arm can come up, reach that arm up, pull the shoulder back. Breathe. Good. Draw the hand gently down to the mat. Draw that knee down to the mat. Then take your right hand and draw it in by your right foot. Now your right arm and right thigh are pushing into each other. And when you feel ready, draw your left hand onto your left hip. Start to rotate. Keep pushing the arm and the thigh into each other. If you feel comfortable, reach that back arm up with that top arm, pulling the shoulder back. Breathe deep. Good. Slowly draw the hand down. Slowly walk the hands back, lengthening the front leg, coming onto the heel, lifting the toe up. Breathe deep. Maybe rock the hips just a little side to side. Good. Bend that front knee. Curl the back toe. Lift the thigh. Keep pushing that left hip forward. Keep drawing the right leg in. Walk the left hand kind of where the left foot would be if it was next to the right foot. Right hand onto hip. Open to this right side. Keep pulling this thigh in. Good. Reach that top arm up. Pull the shoulder back. Breathe. Draw the hands slowly down to the mat. Slowly draw the knee down to the mat. Uncurl the toe or keep the toe curled, but draw the right hand in next to the right foot so that the arm and the thigh can press into each other. Left hand onto left hip. Keep pushing the thigh and the arm together. Start to rotate to the left. Then reach that arm up towards the ceiling. Pull the shoulder back. Breathe. Draw the arm gently down. Hands in position where you can slowly walk back, lifting that foot, toe up, and just kind of feeling that stretch. Good, bend the knee. Hands back, so you can curl the back toe. Lift that back thigh up. Breathe deep. Walk your left hand in by your right foot. Keep drawing your right thigh in, right hand onto hip. Draw the core in. If you feel comfortable, reach that top arm up. Pull the shoulder back. Keep pulling that right thigh in. Breathe. Good, slowly come back down. Draw that back knee down. Uncurl the toe or keep the toe curled, but draw the right hand in by the right thigh, or the right foot, sorry. So the arm is pushing into the thigh. Good. When the arm and leg are pushing into each other and you start to feel balance, draw this left hand onto your left hip. Start to open, keep pushing arm into leg. When you're ready, that top arm can reach up, pulling the shoulder back, breathing deep. Draw that top arm gently down. Walk the hands back so you can lift the front toe, straighten the leg, breathing deep. Bend the knee, curl the back toe, lift the knee, and then hop that foot to meet the front foot. Good. Make sure the feet are parallel with each other. Wiggle out those legs. Come into chair, bending knees, sinking hips down and back, chest peeling up, arms to frame. Draw the core in, soften those shoulders. Push to the feet, arms into prayer. Good. As hands are in prayer, draw the core in, take your right arm in front of you, and then start to slowly draw the right arm out at T, and then start to come behind you. But as you're pulling that arm behind you, push this right hip forward. So you're moving in this midline, not at the hips. Good. Draw the hand back to center, hands pressing against. Take your left arm, start to draw it out at T, pushing the left hip forward, start to draw the arm back. So you're twisting gently. Let your gaze follow. Draw the hand back so it comes into prayer. Good. We're going to do that one more time on both sides. Right arm comes out, pushing the right hip forward, pulling the arm back, coming into a little bit of a twist to the midline, letting the gaze follow. Drawing the hand back to center. And core in, left arm out at T, pushing the left hip forward, drawing the arm back, gently twisting in this midline, gaze following. Good. Arm comes back to center. Reach the arms up. Feel a nice little stretch up, maybe a little to the left, a little to the right. Good. As these arms are reaching up, take your right arm, draw it down by your right side. Keep reaching with the left, pull the right arm down, and then start to gently pull your left arm over to the right as your right arm is pulling itself down.
Breathe. Inhale, use your core, reach your right arm and your body back up. Soften shoulders. Left arm gently comes down. Left hand and arm reaching down as the right arm is pulling up and over to the left side. Breathe. Good. Come back to center, reaching both arms back up, spine lengthening. One more on both sides. Right arm gently down by your side. Reach that right arm down, but reach this left arm up and over to the right. Take a deep breath. Come back to center. Good. Left side. As the left arm comes down, reach that left arm and hand down as the right arm is reaching up and over. Breathe deep. Good. Come back to center. As you're reaching up already, start to now hinge at your hips. Come into a forward fold.
And then kind of grab the backs of the legs just to give yourself a little extra stretch. Squeeze, 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 bend those knees. And then come into ragdoll by just letting go. No effort.
Good. Then slowly draw the hands to the mat. And slowly walk the feet back one at a time. So you start to come into a downward dog. Then upside down V. Fingers rotating so you're not slipping. Pulling the shoulders back. Head gently releasing, trying to come to the mat. Chest pushing back so you should be able to see the knees, maybe even the navel. And then pedal out those heels. Give those legs a little movement. Notice how the legs are feeling, the hips. Maybe even the back, the shoulders. Good. Knees down to the mat. Toes together, knees wide. Go into a wide leg child's pose. Soften and release when you get here. Good. Come back with the hands and knees. Knees back underneath the hips. And then come into a seated posture. From your seated posture, take your time to start getting set up. Then come on down to lay. So if you want to use your core, you can always just kind of arms out, gently lower. Good. As you come onto the mat, I want you to bend your knees, feet on the mat. And walk your feet wide so they come to the long edges. Arms out at T, creating a nice straight line from the fingers to the shoulders, opposite shoulder out to the opposite finger. Tuck the chin, draw your core in, spread and lift those toes, feel the grounding of the inner and outer edges of the feet. Exhale, knees will lower to your right, and your gaze will look in the opposite direction. Good. Inhale, knees and head back to center. Tuck the chin, core in, find your feet. Lower to the left with those knees, gaze to the right with the head or the eyes. Breathe deep. Come back to center, knees and head. Always realign, re-engage. And begin to flow through these movements of windshield.
Next time your knees come to the right, don't rush to get there, but just come into a place of stillness. Staying there for 3 to 5 deep breaths. When you're done, you'll come back to center. Just make sure that you're realigned and re-engaged and ready to come on to the opposite side. Breathe deep, 3 to 5. Whenever you're back at center, walk your feet in closer. Draw the knees in, give yourself a little hug, maybe a little rock side to side. And then any last movements you would like to explore before going into Shavasana, I would like for you to explore. And when you're ready for your Shavasana, I want you to get set up, settled in, and into a comfortable place. Maybe laying on a mat, using any props that you might feel comfortable on your knees, hips, the neck, the back. And once you get there, close the eyes. And we'll call you out of Shavasana when it's time. So just enjoy this time. That's for you.
Take a deep breath in. Take a deep breath out. Slowly start to wiggle toes and fingers, beginning to awaken little bit by little bit. Keep the eyes closed for now. But when you're ready, you can bend your knees. If you're against a wall or bed or couch, push yourself gently away and then roll over onto one side. Use your bottom arm just to help kind of cradle and hold the head. Bring yourself up to a comfortable seated posture. And allow your hands to find your lap, letting those palms face up in them for the gift of receiving. Lengthen the spine. Relax the shoulders, the jaw. Take a deep breath in. And exhale, send yourself some gratitude for this time, for your efforts and your ease throughout practice. Then draw your hands into prayer. From prayer, thumbs to heart. A slight bow to those hands. Open your heart and come back to your intention. Repeating it once again. Thank you for letting me guide you. Thank you for the vulnerability. And thank you for sharing this journey with me. My light sees your light. We are one. Namaste.